It's been a while, E.
A couple weeks. You weren't nice to me last time, so I skipped the week.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
What did I do?
No, I'm kidding. That's not true. You're always nice to
I
me.
think I've seen you that.
Really? I'm sorry I missed that.
Yeah,
I know.
really.
Hopefully, maybe it's on the website.
Yeah.
Go to FoxBusiness.com.
I actually think that's your greatest talent when you take people apart. It's always with a smile.
With a smile.
It's very disarming.
Disagree
And
about
so,
torture.
you know, I think we've lost some of the moral high ground as a country, and I think we've seen the results of that.
Yeah,
Go ahead, E.
In reality, if you think about it, I mean, just the history of this particular president is what he said aside. What I elected him on, because I wanted to get out of Iraq. I didn't want to go to Iraq in the first place. But then what sort of has happened is we're just moving everything over to Afghanistan. I didn't vote for that. So I would say, forget what he says. Let's see what he does. Because I do think I don't know enough about military strategy to have your perspective. I'm very curious to see if he does what he says, and then and I think we sort of have to reserve a little bit of judgment.
He's going to do what he says. Is he ever?
Well, I don't know. He didn't. Afghanistan was not what he said. He did not get elected on "Let's move everybody over to
You got to
Afghanistan."
hit a commercial. They just said. And then
Yeah, I
I've
want to
got
hit a
couple of
commercial.
points that
Yeah,
I wanna
well,
make. Your drug prescription. You know, there were things that I had big issues with him on. So it's like an issue by issue, and then at the end of the presidency, you can kind of grade him and say, well, overall he was okay, or overall he sucked, or whatever.
I mean, how did you grade Reagan after his first year? How did anybody grade Reagan? And right now, I mean, just numerically speaking, depending on what poll you're
That's
looking
not
at,
what she said. She said, "Are you disappointed?"
well,
So
yeah.
far, are you disappointed?
And what I said the last time I was on the show is, we have 4 years. I can answer that question with a great degree of certainty after 4 years. I don't know that I can answer that question yet. I'm concerned. I am concerned.
Disappointed
I am concerned.
so far.
I am concerned, and you know that.
Really,
and you just want me to declare my.
No, it's not a declaration on his presidency. It's where are you?
The classic
right?
thing, if it's working, keep doing it.
And
It's working.
but it's exactly like the inauguration, which everybody knows about, is that when he's given the keys to the car, when it's suddenly him in the hot seat, everything changed. I mean, he canceled the rehearsal for inauguration when he heard about the all the credible, what was deemed as credible information about what was going to happen that day, because it was his decision. Suddenly, everything changed. And I think, in general, suddenly everything changed.
But you know, here's what. Maybe that guy is right. I should think about it.
But I think you're wrong to presuppose that from right to left that anybody's not saying, you know what, now he has access to information that he did not have before, and he is making different decisions than he ran on. What is the reason for that? Because he has access to that information.
But there should be,
and some people do say we see that.
But to pick up on Bob's point, there should be.
It's a function of war. But you're absolutely right to make that hard decision, which is a brutally difficult decision to make, and pursue that policy on the one hand, and on the other hand appear to be so wildly deferential to the civil rights of certain people who are clearly terrorists. It's pretty interesting. It's pretty
You
interesting.
cannot blame, though, and say the mainstream media is looking at things differently. The mainstream media includes Fox, who is a very powerful player in the mainstream media, one. Two is the mainstream media, quote unquote, includes things like the internet, like we're on right now, and the people have a million different options to gather information if they choose to do so, and everybody ought to do that. So I don't think we can blame the mainstream media for
But I
this.
think the bigger point is that under President Bush, you had CNN, MSNBC, the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Boston Globe, Time, Newsweek, and everybody constantly pounding him every day on these same exact questions. And now that there's a liberal Democrat in the presidency facing the same issues and doing a lot of the same thing, you don't hear from those quarters raising the same
You are right, but I wonder how much of that is, and I agree with you, but I wonder myself.
Don't disagree with her.
I learned that a long time ago. Don't disagree with Monica Crowley. No matter what I say, I preface it with I agree with you.
She'll smile and take you out.
Absolutely.
I will cut you.
UCLA professor Mark Sawyer is agreeing with you right now. He's like,
trying to explain what he was doing, and he allowed the other side to create
Yeah, but he
the
did
narrative.
that. I mean.
No, I'm blaming him for that.
I know.
I'm blaming him for that.
I know you're not going to like this observation, but he did that because he didn't have the same. And I'm not saying that this makes somebody more presidential than the other, but he did that because he was not the orator that Obama is. Because Obama's not going to do that. He will go out and sell to the American public, and he won't use the wrong words. And when Bush used the wrong words, that's what everybody focused on, whether fairly or not.
Or not, they said, he's our guy, let's see what he does. And now he's at 43, 45% because we've had 14, 15 months and we've seen a pattern, and people, not just Republicans, but
Yeah,
a lot
but
of independents are peeling away from him because they're scared.
On-
They're scared of the path that
On the
Bush
other
taking us
hand, I
down.
think, whether inside the Beltway or outside the Beltway, everybody regards the transition between the Bush administration and the Obama administration as the smoothest transition in the history of presidents, as opposed to think about, Clinton and Bush when everybody was taking computers out of the White House. It wasn't quite